Okay, let's just picture this for a second.
Yeah.
You're in a live TV studio. The tension, you can almost feel it, right? The silence is somehow louder than anything else.
Yeah. Palpable is the word.
Exactly. And you've got Rachel Maddow's voice over here, just this torrent of words, really sharp, hitting like a wall of noise.
Mm-hmm.
And then opposite her, Jasmine Crockett, just sitting there, incredibly still, composed, eyes steady, holding the room, but quietly. You just knew something was about to give.
Yeah, and what you're describing there, it's more than just good TV, isn't it? Our research really points to this as a pivotal moment. It went way beyond a typical debate.
Right.
So today, we're really going to dig into that, this clash between Maddow and Crockett. Why was it so captivating? Why did it hit such a nerve with millions? And, what can we actually learn from it about communication, power, and maybe most importantly, dignity?
That's our mission today, essentially. Right. We're unpacking the material we've got, trying to understand how these high-pressure moments really show you someone's true character, and how just one reply, chosen so carefully, can completely flip the script on an entire conversation. Because like you said, this wasn't just television. Our sources kept saying it felt like America's identity on trial. And
that's precisely where the insights are for all of us, I think. How do you handle confrontation? How do you stand your ground when someone's trying to just dominate a space?
Yeah.
This specific moment, as we'll break down, it really offers a kind of masterclass.
Okay, so let's set that stage a bit more clearly. The material we looked at describes the studio atmosphere as thick. You had producers literally leaning forward, nervous, almost sensing that, history was unfolding right there.
Yeah, like the story was writing itself.
Exactly. And millions of people watching live, just glued to their screens.
It really was quite something. And from what we gathered, Maddow's initial approach, well, it was described as raw agitation. It seemed like the volume was trying to make up for maybe lack of substance in that moment. It felt less like a debate.
Yeah, more like an ambush, the notes said.
Exactly. An ambush. Her voice kept getting higher, words kind of tumbling over each other. It looked like a real, almost desperate attempt to just own the airwaves.
Well, the contrast is what made it so electric, wasn't it? Crockett's stillness. Just the complete opposite.
Utterly. The quiet around her felt heavy.
Yeah.
Deliberate. Almost like theater. It actually spoke louder than the shouting that was trying to drown her out.
And the calmer she stayed, the stronger she seemed to become. It was fascinating to watch that dynamic.
And what's really interesting is how the story itself started to shift right then. Even with Maddow pushing harder, talking louder, the focus wasn't really on the shouting anymore.
No.
It was all on Crockett's silence, her refusal to get rattled. It built this incredible suspense leading up to that line in our notes. No one expected what came next.
Right. And then the kicker. And in one sentence, Crockett would flip the entire exchange on its head.
Such a great line.
But that turning point, that specific moment, that's where it gets even more compelling, I think. This wasn't just arguing. It was a raw test of power playing out in real time.
Definitely.
And for a lot of viewers, especially progressive ones, it felt deeply personal. The feeling was apparently that if Maddow could silence Crockett, it would echo the silencing they felt they'd endured. But if Crockett held firm, it was like validation. Proof that dignity could still win out.
Which really raises the question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What background, what history did these two women bring into that room that made this specific clash so explosive and meaningful?
Good question. Let's maybe start with Rachel Maddow. I mean, she's a huge name.
Oh, yeah. Household name.
Became known for that voice. Sharp enough to cut through anything, right?
Yeah.
And a delivery that was just precise, relentless. People saw her as this trusted guide navigating all the chaos.
Absolutely. She built this massive reputation on, connecting the dots, breaking down really complex stories for people.
But the analysis we looked at suggests that style. It changed over time. It evolved maybe from analysis towards dominance.
That's what the sources indicate. Her interruptions apparently got sharper. Guests sometimes felt, steamrolled.
Right.
And that created this interesting contradiction, didn't it? She championed fairness, truth, transparency, but her actual method sometimes didn't leave much room for the voices she said she wanted to amplify.
Yeah, it's like her progressive brand ended up using some of the same control tactics she'd criticized elsewhere.
Exactly. And that contradiction, it seems, was just laid bare in this particular confrontation. It was never more exposed.
Her voice reportedly cracked with desperation. Her usual dominance suddenly looked frantic, maybe even a bit fearful.
Yeah, heavy-handed is another term used.
The audience saw the armor slip, the whole persona just fracture under that pressure.
Yeah.
And the louder she got, the smaller she seemed. It was quite the unraveling.
So then let's pivot to Jasmine Crockett. Her backstory, as we discovered, is just remarkable resilience.
Yeah.
Her story was, as our notes put it, carved out of resistance, persistence, and a refusal to disappear. She grew up seeing doors closed, voices like hers just dismissed. But those experiences didn't break her. They shaped her. They built this unshakable understanding that she had to make her own place, claim her own seat at the table.
And law school was key there. Law became her first weapon. That framing makes so much sense now.
It does, right?
Because in court, she learned that power isn't just about being the loudest. Sometimes it's about holding your ground while the noise just burns itself out.
Or letting the silence do the work. Yeah, letting the truth cut through when everything else is faded. That's a really profound lesson.
Absolutely. And she took that straight into politics where, again, people underestimated her.
Yeah.
Told her to wait her turn.
Which clearly didn't happen. She seemed to use those dismissals as fuel. Her presence itself became disruptive to the system.
Yeah.
Her whole rise was about resilience, wasn't it? Standing tall when the pressure was on, knowing, instinctively perhaps, that the higher the stakes, the steadier she had to be.
So her composure in that studio, it wasn't an act. It wasn't just for the cameras.
No, not at all.
It was, as the notes say, her secret weapon. Something honed over years of fights nobody else probably even saw. She knew the playbook of people trying to silence her.
And she was ready, not by matching the anger, but by standing taller, calmer, stronger.
Which brings us right back to that electric moment, that infamous clapback.
Yeah, the tension was just, you could cut it with a knife by then.
Maddow's getting louder, more agitated gestures. And Crockett gets even stiller, like a pillar, just unmoved by the storm raging around her.
Mm-hmm. The stillness itself became the main event.
And then she moves. Slowly, deliberately, leans forward, eyes locked on Maddow.
That eye contact must have been intense.
And then those 4 words, "Are you finished?"
Quiet, controlled, devastating, just devastating.
It wasn't really a question, was it? It was a verdict.
Absolutely, and Maddow just froze. Her words faltered. Game over in that instant.
But Crockett wasn't done. She followed up with these incredibly powerful lines that just landed with the audience. First, you've had your say. You've raised your voice. But raising your voice doesn't raise your truth.
Wow. Like a gavel coming down. That's how one source described it. A gavel moment.
You can almost feel that landing. Then she goes on, here's the difference between us.
Mm-hmm.
You shout to be heard. I speak to be understood. And the people watching tonight, they know the difference.
Ooh. You could almost hear the audience gasp, couldn't you? The applause starting.
Totally. And she kept going, building on it. You don't intimidate me. You don't silence me. Because I've been here before fighting to be heard when others thought their volume could erase my voice. It didn't work then, and it won't work now.
And that's when the audience apparently just erupted. Full-on applause described in the material.
And then the final line, the one everyone remembers. You think this is about winning an argument, but this is about truth. And here's the truth. No matter how loud you scream, dignity doesn't flinch.
Landed like a hammer, the sources said, just bam. Audience on their feet, thunderous applause.
And the immediate aftermath was just as telling. Maddow looked visibly rattled, stumbling over words, couldn't get her footing back.
While Crockett, she didn't smirk, didn't gloat, just leaned back, composed again, letting those words hang there. Powerful.
So, okay, the moment itself is huge. What about the fallout? The bigger picture?
It was immediate. The internet just blew up. Within seconds, you had clips flying around Twitter. Hashtag Crockett Clapback was trending worldwide.
Right, the meme started instantly.
Yeah.
Maddow's sort of wide-eyed, frozen look.
Yeah, that freeze frame was everywhere. And Crockett's lines being looped on TikTok, it became instant pop culture currency.
Celebrities, influencers, everyone sharing it. And for so many people, it felt like validation.
Exactly. Crockett said what they always wished they could say, to every boss, every loudmouth, every condescending figure they'd ever met.
And her words became like mantras, didn't they?
Yeah.
Dignity doesn't flinch. People grabbed onto that.
You really did. But beyond the memes and the immediate viral buzz, the analysis suggests something deeper happened. Something larger had cracked open.
Like the question suddenly was, okay, if this media giant can be humbled so fast, so completely, what else is possible?
Precisely. Crockett totally reframed the moment, didn't she? By not shouting back, by using stillness and those really precise words.
She showed that dignity actually outlasts noise, that truth shines brighter than just shouting.
And this seemed to tap into this national feeling of exhaustion. Our analysis talks about how America is tired of being yelled at, tired of mistaking volume for actual vision.
Yeah, Crockett offered clarity, didn't she? Assurance that truth doesn't actually need to scream to get heard.
So the sources really frame this whole thing as America's media culture on trial. You had one side representing the old way, dominate, interrupt, control through noise.
And the other offered something new. Clarity, resilience, the courage to just let truth speak.
And that's where it gets bigger than just Maddow and Crockett, right?
Yeah.
Her voice became more than a reply. It became a metaphor.
A metaphor for who?
For, well, every immigrant who has been talked over, every worker who has been silenced, every young activist trying to make a point against overwhelming noise. She proved you don't have to scream back.
You just have to refuse to be drowned out.
Exactly. The undeniable moral, pulling it all together from the material, is just crystal clear. Composure wins over chaos. Dignity outlasts noise. Truth doesn't stutter if you speak it clearly.
So this viral moment wasn't just entertainment. It was like a mirror, showing us this vision of strength that's rooted in, well, calm resilience.
So thinking about the lasting impact, what's the big takeaway here?
Well, the sources seem pretty clear. History isn't going to remember the shouting, is it? It's going to remember the clapback.
Yeah, that sharp, poised strike from Crockett.
It's this powerful lesson, really. Noise fades, but truth endures. Especially truth delivered with that kind of dignity.
So for you listening, what does this all mean? Maybe think about times in your own life, when you felt talked over, dismissed.
Yeah, what can Crockett's example teach you about standing firm, about responding with clarity instead of just matching volume for volume?
Because ultimately, this was never just television, was it? The analysis really pushes this idea that it was a statement about who we are and who we want to be.
Mm-hmm. In a culture that often feels, addicted to outrage, this moment showed restraint as a form of strength, clarity as resistance, truth as victory.
So the final thought to leave you with is, what does that mean for how you engage, how you deal with information, how you handle confrontation in your own life? Something to really mull over.